gentlemen, turn your speakers up. It's time for the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. Turn up the bass. A podcast discussing all things AEW and WWE. Oh yeah! Let's meet the hosts. First, a man hailing from the hub city in Indiana. He goes by @TooSweetKyle on Twitter. The host, Kyle Gagliardi. And your co-host, hailing from the Valley of Lake Tahoe. He goes by @JimTuck89 on Twitter. Jim Tucker. And last but not least, hailing from the cornfield somewhere in Indiana, the full-time part-timer, Ian Garavaglia. Turn up the bass. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram @PodOnTheMark.
What is going on, everyone? You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks, and I am your host, Mr. OTM Kyle Gagliardi, and my co-host this evening is my good friend, Ian Garavaglia. Ian, what's up, dog?
What's up, dog? We had a good, solid week of wrestling, I would say. I would say Monday Night Raw is the winner of the week so far, in my honest opinion, but we had a good night of Dynamite last night, and I am quite excited to talk about it because I know we have some different opinions on some stuff.
Yeah, as Cody Rhodes would say, what do you want to talk about? We got a lot to talk about. I mean, really not a lot. I shouldn't say a lot. A lot of episodes we do, but there's just a few topics we definitely got to do a deep dive and get into it because we are now only 1 week away from SummerSlam. So a lot of things are happening in the WWE. A lot of things happening in AEW. I mean, I know we've spoke on it, recently. AEW Dynamite, in my opinion, has been a very strong show over the past month. Granted, last night I do have my complaints, which we will get to, but overall, man, I know we say it a lot, Ian, but it really is a great time to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah, wrestling's hot. And like you said, AEW's been picking up steam a little bit now, and I think they're starting to get their pieces back together, it's translating through the television screen. I haven't been able to watch live because, as you know, obviously, wiffle ball. But they do a great job on YouTube just to recap everything and the stuff I need to see. And that's what I end up usually doing on a Thursday while at work, just to get ready for this podcast. And then I try to watch Dynamite tomorrow night after SmackDown. It's a busy week of wrestling.
Yeah, but you did catch the Blood and Guts match, correct?
What they had on YouTube was about 24 minutes in, and I think it just had started when Swerve was coming to the ring, I do believe.
Okay, I think he might have been the last person. Now, I don't remember, and I just recently watched it. But we will get to AEW in the back half of this episode. Let's run to the chat real quick. Robbie Collins in the house. He said, can't stay around for long, guys. Got a hectic night. Hope everything's all right, Robbie. He said, hope the episode goes well. Make sure you check out the OTM merch, the Main Event Network. See, look at that. And he also says, congrats to the Wrestling Junkies on 200 episodes. Yes, we'd like to reciprocate that. The Wrestling Junkies, man, I know we put them over a lot on this show, and they do the same for us. But truly, I do not know another podcast that is working harder than those two guys.
It's ridiculous. The only people I could compare them to, and it's not even a fair comparison, is Busted Open because they do every single day.
But they're not getting
that's
paid
a multi-million company. So, the Wrestling Junkies they reached 200 about in the third of the time that it took us to reach 200.
If that. It might have been a fourth. Yeah. Because they are cranking out content almost daily. And speaking of the Wrestling Junkies, Mr. Cincinnati's in the chat. He said, Ian changed his name? Your dad's going to be pissed. Ian, do you want to explain the gimmick change once again?
So you missed the I wouldn't call it a promo. It was more of a vignette last week during the show. I said, I think it's about time for a name change. My dad hasn't been showing up too recently in the chat, so might have to change sides here. So we're going to this is like my base character. It's the full-time part-timer. That's my base. It's the character design after comes after. We'll figure it out.
That's Ian version 1 right there, the full-time part-timer, because he wasn't always a official co-host of OTM. We had a couple iterations in this show. We was just me and Tuck, then it was just me, Tuck, and Erica, then it was just me, Tuck again, and then it was me, Tuck, and Ian, and then Tuck went away for vacation, like not vacation, but real life stuff was happening for 3 months. So it kind of was me and you for a little bit. And here we are once again without Tuck. And if you guys are curious on where Tuck is, he is back home here in Northwest Indiana.
Yes, he is.
I believe he is running in a race too right now, isn't he?
That might be tomorrow. I think that might be tomorrow.
Oh, was it tomorrow? Then why was he busy tonight? Family stuff?
Family matters.
I think it was tonight. I just don't think you read the group message.
I probably didn't.
Fair enough. Mr. Cincinnati says you're making him blush. I will actually get to meet Mr. Cincinnati in the podcast ad for the first time in person. 1 week from today, we will be at AEW, which I just saw. The machine guns will be on the card. So Motor City Machine Guns, that is. It's going to be a fun weekend. Ian, I'm sure you're a little jealous of the boys.
So part of me is very jealous about the time spent. And then you guys are throwing numbers around in these group chats, and I'm like, well, I mean, I'm doing all right. But
I'm saving up for us, right?
The worst part about it is I really wanted to meet the Junkies, and it will happen eventually.
It will.
Royal
Rumble.
That's the biggest part of it. Yes, exactly. It'll happen around then.
We'll definitely meet them there, I believe. Next year's Royal Rumble will be in Indianapolis. Not a far drive from Cincinnati, and not a far drive from us here in Northwest Indiana. But enough talk about the future. Let's talk about the present and what we have to offer at the OnTheMarkWrestlingPodcast.com. You see one of the t-shirts behind Ian. You see the tapestry behind me. Somewhere back here there is an OTM coffee mug. But with SummerSlam coming up, I will say this. Next week there will be a code and you will save more money. But if you want to full out support us, go to the OnTheMarkWrestlingPodcast.com. Purchase yourself some OTM merch to help keep the lights on, Ian, because it ain't free to do this shit. It ain't free.
Well, it's free for me, but it's not free for you guys. And like we say it every single week, but any purchase at all or any contribution you have, whether that's just retweeting, that helps us tremendously, more than you guys even understand. It's a huge help, and all that money that any proceeds we get comes straight back to the podcast and running the show. So any help is appreciated, as always.
For the marks. By the marks, or the other way around.
I
botched my own saying, guys. But good news, the Great Brown Hope is here from the Main Event Wrestling Network. He says, we out you. Yes, we are, sir. And you just posted a fantastic blog about Angelo Dawkins, one half of the Street Profits. Ian, did you get a chance to check that one out?
I have not, but I keep them on my I highlight the tweet just so I can come back to it later on in the night. Yes, always bookmark it. The bookmarking tool on Twitter is the best, because if you ever had like a match pop up, it will say Will Ospreay versus whoever full match. Highlight those, because when you want to watch some wrestling, you got it right there. It's awesome.
Or bookmark tweets that are just going to be old takes exposed later on. I do that a lot too.
That is true. But yeah, shout out Twitter. Shout out X. I know they could use the shout out there.
Also, shout out to Dirk Vogus, who's in the chat, which is just a fantastic name. Great.
Well, anybody named Dirk sounds like a stand-up individual.
What a name, right? Dirk Van Fleet.
Love Dirk. Dirk. What a name.
Don't we all? Thanks for stopping by, Dirk. And Great Brown Hub says, appreciate the love. We appreciate you. So if you want to check out that blog and all the great stuff happening at the Main Event Wrestling Network, at mainevent_net is where you're going to follow us on all the socials. And don't forget, guys, we are an official affiliate of the WWE shop. So any proceeds that you use using our link, I'm going to flash the QR code right there in the corner right now. Scan that QR code. Go get yourself some WWE merch. We got SummerSlam next week. I know you need new merch for the second biggest PLE of the year. So scan that QR code. It helps us out. Like I said, keeps the lights on for us. So we would greatly appreciate it if you use that code if you are going to be purchasing something from the WWE shop. But Ian, I think it's enough time of the shilling. Why don't we get to wrestling? How about it?
It's time for the main event. Not actually. Yeah, that's later.
Yeah, the main event is going to be the AEW, surprisingly, this week. So very fitting that I'll be using that drop for an actual AEW main event. But let's start in the WWE. A couple big things happened on Monday Night Raw. You talked about another great Raw that we got this week. We did find out that CM Punk is officially cleared for SummerSlam. So it is now official that he will be facing Drew McIntyre one-on-one at the second biggest PLE of the year, which is something that we all originally, I think, anticipated was going to happen. I would honestly say this needed to happen with how hot the feud has been as of late, but it's not just these two that are involved in this match, Ian. We found out as well that Seth Rollins is going to be the special guest referee for this match. So let me start there. Let me ask you this question. Do you think Seth Rollins was necessary for this match? Or do you think it should have just been a straight-up one-on-one between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre?
I will say this. I think it's necessary for Seth Rollins because I'm going to jump the gun here with my answer. And what I was going to talk about with this, this smells like a textbook Rollins heel turn right there. Whether that's a curb stomp to CM Punk and giving like Drew the quick count 1, 2, 3, feud over, walk out. Rollins doesn't even acknowledge a crowd, walks on out. I think because we've been talking about it for probably 2 years now. When is Seth Rollins going to turn heel? And we probably said it about 50 times. This is the perfect time for him to do it. And I think there's so many faces in good main event faces that Rollins isn't really needed as a face anymore. So I think that's where this is going to go. And I think Drew McIntyre wins this. So yes, in all, I think it's necessary, not for the match, but for Rollins.
That makes a lot of sense. And I like the point that you're saying that there is a lot of main event talent already on Monday Night Raw. I mean, look at what Sami Zayn is doing right now. You have Ilya Dragunov that's being built up into a beast. You have main event Jey Uso over there. Who knows what's happening with Sheamus and Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne seems to, be getting this push now on the main roster once again. So there is a lot of adversaries for Seth Rollins if he were to turn heel. But I'm not going to sit here and confidently say that is going to happen in this match. But
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I do like the addition of Seth Rollins here. And
we lost him. Give him a second here. But
check that out. Go ahead and check that out.
You're back.
It's on his channel. But yeah, nonetheless.
You were frozen there for a while.
No, that's fine. I'm just going to keep talking through it. It don't matter.
No, I mean, like, we couldn't hear you at all. You went quiet.
No, that's fine. I'm not going to repeat myself is what I'm getting at.
Okay, cool.
They're just going to have to deal with it here.
All
but
right.
no, I do like Seth Rollins being a part of this because we do know the history between CM Punk and Seth Rollins. That has nothing to do with physicality. These guys really haven't even had any physicality that I can think of off the top of my head since maybe the Shield days. It all is about Twitter fingers with those two. But you also have Seth Rollins, who has history with Drew McIntyre, especially as of late. He's had plenty of matches against Drew McIntyre's for the title on these PLEs to where you need to get Seth Rollins on this card. Like I said, second biggest show of the year. Seth Rollins is one of your big stars. You had to find a place for him. I can't think of a better spot for him because if he wasn't included in this match as a special guest referee, Ian, what do you do with him? I can't think of anything.
Yeah, and again, I think it comes back to that. What do you do with him after? And we don't know. We really don't know. But favorite thing about this is it's tying up a loose end from just a simple match and the cash, or not the cash in. It was Punk interfering with the match with Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. Yeah. I think this beautifully culminates to this match because no one would ever think about it like 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Well, this guy messing with McIntyre during the match when Seth Rollins is in there, that kind of ruins his chances too of winning the title. So he should retaliate. This is where it is. This is that next level thinking that I would say WWE had been kind of lacking of. But I mean, obviously before the Triple H era. So it's nice to see. It's a cool little tidbit that's actually tying up really loose ends.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's words taken out of my mouth. They are tying up loose ends with having Seth Rollins involved in this match. But you're also starting something. I know they've started the feud technically with Drew and Punk, but I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. I think this is just match number 1. And you have that loophole if Seth Rollins does do some shady shit for CM Punk to get his lick back. And you still got Bash at the Berlin, and you still have Bad Blood. And I can't think of a better main event for Bad Blood, which is, let's call it a B-level PLE, because that's what it is. But imagine, main event, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, Hell in a Cell.
Last man standing.
Think of a better match. That's the trilogy right there. That's your third match.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this rivalry has been heated up for a long time, and obviously because of the Punk injury, it's been this long since we've seen the actual match happen. But I think they've done it well. Just to remind you, I mean, not even remind you, they've been pretty much every segment that Drew McIntyre's in, Punk is there, or in some essence is there or talked about. So they've been driving it in our head saying, hey, this match is going to happen, and I think this is the perfect opportunity and perfect timing for it.
Speaking of Drew McIntyre, a tweet that is deleted now off of X, he took a picture with Jack Perry, which I don't know when this happened. Maybe it happened yesterday at Dynamite, but it got removed, and if you haven't seen it, I'm sure if you just search on X, you will be able to find it. But I'm not surprised, Ian, that they told him to delete it, but Drew McIntyre, that man, they talk about living the gimmick. He's definitely living it outside of wrestling.
Yeah, and the funniest thing, too, is like 30 years ago, if this were to happen, no one would care. I mean, obviously, there wouldn't be a picture in Twitter, but I think this stuff is just kind of funny. Was WWE in AEW? Because I know AEW's... Were they in Green Bay? Or was that WWE?
They were last night. They were in Nashville. Maybe Drew lives... No, Drew does live there. Because I think Drew's neighbors with Sheamus. So that makes sense. Because Sheamus lives in Nashville, I believe. Okay, we're connecting dots now. It's kind of creepy that I know where they live.
That was weird.
Funny you mentioned that, Eric. He said the SummerSlam 97 finish, loading up for Punk and McIntyre. Steve said the exact same thing last night. I still haven't got the chance to watch that match. But Ian, I think you should watch it too, because it's a very similar vibe with a special guest referee in that one. Totally agree with you there, Eric. I think that's the kind of finish we're going to be getting. And he's hoping that Bad Blood will be a triple threat and Hell in a Cell, which, sign me up. Throw Seth Rollins in there. I'm cool with it.
I feel like you have more stuff to get out of Punk versus Seth just in singles matches, though. That would be my thing. I would like to see the culmination and the talk and the promos between just Rollins and Punk on each side of the ring. I think Drew McIntyre after Punk is on to bigger and better things. Man, I wouldn't hate it.
But don't you think that they're probably going to try for CM Punk versus Rollins at Mania next year, since they didn't get to do it this year? And they're going to wait for it a little bit?
Right, yeah, and that's kind of what I'm hinting at. I don't know if I want the triple threat. Let's have the special guest now.
The Drew feud.
Move
on to Seth after that.
Yep.
So who comes out of all this? You think CM Punk ultimately is the one that wins the feud with Drew McIntyre?
In the end, yes, but I think Seth will screw Punk now at this next Sunday. Or next Saturday. Is it Sunday?
Next Saturday.
Next Saturday. Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay.
You love a Saturday PLE.
I love Saturday PLEs. But then Drew McIntyre wins next Saturday. Spoiling my pick for next week. But
I mean, by the way, Tuesday, are you able to record? I know we're doing this live on the podcast. Next Tuesday.
Should be able to. Should be good.
Yeah, guys, expect a show on Tuesday. If not, some show will be recorded. Tuck and I are leaving 8 a.m., I think, Thursday morning, because it's about a 5-hour drive to Cleveland. We get check-in at 3, and then we have AEW at night and the wrestling nightclub after that. So
I'm just saying, do a in-person one would be kind of fun.
Oh, I think we were talking about that. Yeah,
that would be very fun.
For a main event mixer. That's what we call those, right?
Yeah.
Main event. I haven't done one in a while. I'm sorry. Main event mixer with the Junkies in person could be electric, but. You got anything else to add with the Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, Seth Rollins situation?
Nothing else.
All right, so let's move on to something else that's happening on Monday Night Raw, and it's the Dom, Mysterio, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley love triangle that is happening now since Rhea returned a couple weeks ago. It seems as if Dom has made his choice for now.
Yeah.
As he says he will align with Mami going into her match at SummerSlam against Liv next Saturday. obviously, Ian, I think a lot of us are thinking that Dom is probably going to align himself with Liv eventually. But just the back and forth, having Liv Morgan, in the crowd, I love the production of that segment. You had Dom that was kind of belittling Liv in Spanish. I thought that was a nice touch. And then Mami licks his face afterwards. Liv showing her, you know what. A lot was going on that seemed to break the internet, but what is your takeaways from this segment? Because I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too, and we talked about it too. It was like, I like how the women's division is kind of getting more intertwined with the men's division. And we saw that started with Judgment Day when Rhea Ripley, because she was the perfect bridge into that. And I'm absolutely loving it because it feels like a drama television show. No wrestling's really been had between them, unless it involves Dom and Rey Mysterio in the ring. That's about it.
We do that a lot, don't we?
Yeah, which I'm never complaining about, by the way. I love it every single time. Wow. Okay, we'll talk about that later.
I'm kind of over it.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I was, like I'm also on the side too of, I think Dom's gonna eventually come back to Liv and screw Rhea. It makes sense. I mean, Dom's still the biggest heel in WWE for, not a lot of reasons really anymore.
Just because he picks up a microphone, you want to feel it's fun.
It is funny, but he did get some time to talk, which is pretty funny.
And that's a good question though from Eric, if you want to read it off real quick.
Yeah, Eric, did he belittle her though? So far, we haven't seen a translation of what was said.
I don't speak Spanish, so I can't confirm that. But it felt like it. The energy was there,
I'm sure if he said nice things, I'm sure somebody on the internet would have said, they would have been, well, it translates to, oh, you're the best, Liv. Never mind, I don't mean any of this.
Right. I agree. Great Brown Hope, known Liv Morgan hater, says Liv Morgan looks like she smells like bong water.
Why
he
do
just
you
doesn't
hate
like
Liv?
her. He hates a lot of people.
Gosh.
That's just one of them. Cage My IQ in the house. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. He said Finn is getting tired of Rhea too. If you look back at the interaction they've had. And Ian, I told you this about a month ago. Finn is the sneaky link in this love triangle. Finn Balor and Liv are in cahoots. I'm sticking to it. That guy's up to some sketchy shit, Ian. You've noticed it. I know you have.
I have noticed it, and it makes me sad because I want to see one more big face run for Finn before he's out. I don't think he's out anytime soon. But if he turns heel on Rhea, that heel heat's gonna last a long time. So
I think it's gonna happen too, Ian. I don't want to. I'm trying not to spoil too much for next week's show, but I think it might happen.
Oh, man, that would be. I would like that. I would like those pieces falling into place. I mean, Carlito's still. Why is he still? That could be another one. That could be another one where it's like, okay, he joined this whole time. Maybe he'd come out. He's actually just super brilliant, and his plan worked out all along. We don't know. JD McDonough is still going to be the. Who cares?
The bobblehead.
Yeah.
The walking, talking bobblehead. Yeah.
Also love JD McDonough and Finn Balor's champs.
Yeah, me too.
Throw that out there.
And can confirm from the Gray Brown Hope, who speaks Espanol, he said he did belittle her. So I was right. I took Spanish for 3 years. I didn't pick up on anything he said, but I was right. Liv and Finn are going to hook up and cost Rhea her belt, and then Priest too. And I agree with the Gray Brown Hope there, Ian, but I think it would be interesting, though. I know Carlito's been very funny in his backstage segments. If you kind of just had a Judgment Day split down the middle. You have Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio, and JD McDonough. Oh, no, sorry. Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, Liv Morgan, and JD McDonough. And on the other side of things, you have Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest, and Carlito.
Just that second team that you named is just wild to think about. That'd be hilarious. A split's obviously coming. I don't know who's going to break out as that solo group. I feel like this is going to destroy the Judgment Day in total.
Yeah.
If anything,
Priest.
If anything, Damian Priest breaks out solo and then it ends up just being Rhea Ripley versus everybody. I think that's where it would go. Because that makes more sense. Because I don't think JD, he wouldn't pick a side. He would just go wherever Finn says, or Carlito will just follow the group as well. Because I don't think he has a mind of his own.
Mm-hmm. That ain't cool in Carlito voice, Cage My IQ says. Yeah, I love what Carlito's doing. And he's not even wrestling. Just he's kind of just being R-Truth after R-Truth left the Judgment Day.
Shame. R-Truth should still be in there. Actually, he still is in there. I don't think he ever got kicked out.
I remember when the merch was #1 too. When he was.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if they used the QR code, or they probably didn't have one at that time.
True. That is true.
But now you can.
Could have racked in some bucks there. Yeah.
Anyways, though, anything else in the WWE that's kind of caught your eye? I know we're going to spend a lot of time next week talking about SummerSlam, so if you don't got anything, I'm ready to move on.
I have one thing I want to talk about, and that's big ol' Otis. They are doing this perfectly in allowing him to shine as himself. His promo this past Monday, that was him. That's where he needs to stay. It felt real. And his actual voice instead of the Macho Man voice. I love it. It's fun. It's funny. But if you want to be a legitimate main event guy, I mean, I don't think he'll be a main event anytime soon. Main event with current status, but upper mid card, if you're wanting to go to that extra step, bring some reality into it. And it sounded like it. Like him versus Chad Gable that's David versus Goliath, but you actually want the Goliath to win. That just shows how much personality Otis has.
Yeah, no, he's doing a great job. I think everybody involved in that Alpha Academy, Chad Gable, and now the Wyatt Six, they're all clicking on all cylinders, I guess. But I am curious on what you think about the potential matchup between Chad Gable and Uncle Howdy at SummerSlam. Is that something you would like to see? And if so, how do you go about doing that? Because we've talked about it. It's going to be very difficult for them to wrestle as just legitimate people. But they have kind of told that story, the backstory, how they're not these people. It's just an extension of their character.
Right. I liked it Monday. I think they gave a good glimpse at what it could look like. I mean, obviously, Bo or Uncle Howdy, he has the good opportunity of just, I'm not going to say copy, but replicating and taking inspiration from the Bray Wyatt character and the Fiend character and wearing the mask with a tank top. That looked good. I don't think that was too over the top, but that also at the same time, there was smoke. It was dark in the ring.
The crowd was loud though, Ian.
Yes, they loved it. As soon as he went into the Sister Abigail, that was chills. That was a chills moment.
I almost teared up.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm being dead honest with you. I don't get emotional about a lot of things, but wrestling is my #1 love. And just like thinking just back to Bray and all the stuff that he accomplished and did, it's just so cool that his brother gets to carry on that legacy, and I think he's doing a great job.
His brother that had deserved a lot more spotlight than he had in his previous time in WWE.
Yeah, I agree. And Great Brown Hope said Bo got the pop of the year. I was very surprised with how good the Green Bay crowd was, though. It's Green Bay, Wisconsin. I know the only thing they care about is Packers football. But they were good Monday night.
I was really hoping we got a Seth Rollins heel turn there.
We should have booed him. I was going to tweet
so
that.
Good.
We should have booed his ass because he hates football, especially when they play the Packers.
Green Bay WWE fans are fake Green Bay fans.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
If he would have went in or brought up the Bears, he would have had the biggest heat. That's how you turn him heel right there.
That's what I'm saying. It would have been beautiful.
Turn Rollins heel in Green Bay by just saying, fuck the Packers. And then
you would have been the new CM Punk. You would have basically been the new CM Punk. His Chicago trips would be beautiful and easy for him.
Right. Yeah, but hey, I just want to remind you, the Bears have not beaten the Packers, I think, since 2019. Just wait till this year. Just throwing that out there.
Who's your quarterback? I don't think you guys have one yet, right?
We were about to have one, yes.
Oh, okay.
Jordan
Cool. Just want to make sure. Cool.
So, whose account is this? You're all banned. Sensitive Ron Succotash. That's a great name, by the way. Cage My IQ has a question. He said, thoughts on Pete Dunne working both Raw and NXT now? Ian, what do you think?
I didn't know he was working on NXT. I didn't watch this week. I didn't know that. Cool.
He's feuding with Trick, I think, now.
Huh.
Yeah.
I wonder if that bridges the gap. Hear me out. Sheamus goes to NXT here soon.
Ooh, yeah.
That's that bridge.
I would like that. A Sheamus run in NXT would be fun. Go ahead.
I feel like Sheamus is kind of at that point of his Thanos moment where he just wants to collect everything. I mean, he's not a Grand Slam champion still. Let's make him a action. Yeah, I don't think he ever won the Jack can help me. Intercontinental?
I thought he did.
Jack can help me.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is going to be him versus Trick at the Great American Bash. So not only is Pete Dunne feuding with Sheamus. He's also feuding with Trick Williams in NXT. That's cool.
I mean, Sheamus lost a lot of steam after they just took away the song. What?
Yeah, what are we doing there?
That's so bad. What are we doing?
Confirmed, Ian, you were right.
I did something. Wow.
I did something. Yeah, we will never hear too many limes again. What am I supposed to do now?
I don't know. It's stupid.
I'm going to move on to AEW. I'm protesting WWE for the rest of this podcast because they took away Sheamus' theme song. Just kidding. There is one more comment. Great Brown Hope said, never forget that Pete Dunne is a former NXT UK heavyweight champion. He has more than paid his dues. He can go the distance. Pull the tracker on the NXT heavyweight title run.
Well,
Wouldn't hate it.
There is no NXT heavyweight, but yes, I don't think anybody's complaining. I would love to see him as a champion there, but there are just so many people in NXT right now that could be that champion, minus Shawn Spears. Does not. I don't think he deserves it. Just saying.
I like what Shawn Spears is
I
doing
don't
in
like
NXT.
it. I don't like it.
I just don't think you're a Shawn Spears guy.
I might not be.
Of his AEW stuff.
I didn't like him in AEW at all. No. Yeah, it could
That's
just be
okay.
that.
I'm not a Bronson Reed guy, but I don't sit here and hate on him.
That's fair.
There's just certain guys you don't get.
Yeah.
You know,
Not intellectual enough.
I guess. Cage My IQ says, at this rate, Trick gonna get his rematch next spring. Yeah, he's got everybody coming for him, and he don't even have the title anymore. While Ethan Page is like, I'm good. All ego. All right, guys, let's move on over to AEW. Blood and Guts happened yesterday, so that took up majority of the show. But there is one other big thing that did happen. We saw the rumors and all the, talk about Kamille joining AEW a few months ago. I guess they were keeping her on the back burner for a little bit because she finally made her AEW debut on Dynamite this week after Britt Baker had her match with Hikaru Shida. She attacked Britt Baker, and now it seems like she has aligned herself with the TBS champion Mercedes Moné. I know you didn't get to see it, Ian, but now knowing this, how do you feel about this being her introduction to the AEW audience?
I am very optimistic. I think it's a great acquisition because I think the women's division right now in AEW is really in a good standpoint right now, especially with Britt Baker back. We still haven't seen Jamie Hayter back yet.
Yes, sir. There
are so many pieces that are still haven't found their way back. Even Thunder Rosa is still making her way back to the main event spot. It's intriguing because I don't think Moné has that threatening appeal to her at all. And
really?
When you have the threatening appeal, like as in I don't want to mess with her.
Oh, okay. I mean, she does shit talk a lot. That's what I was kind of getting at.
If you want to call it shit talk, I think this adds. Yeah.
Go off. No, go off. I want to hear it. What are your thoughts on Mercedes? Tell us how you really feel.
Well, I'm getting worked now because she's officially a heel. However, when she was first there, I was like, these are the promos we signed up for. This is what we signed so much money for. Like, it felt like she was phoning it in at first, and that's why it didn't work out. So here we are. Now we're at a heel turn, which eventually works out. Obviously, I think no one's going to complain about her being a heel. With you got Kamille, Brick, House behind her. So I like where it's going. It's just at first that was my only complaint. I just hated her at first, and when I wasn't supposed to hate her.
Yeah, no, I get it. Totally understand it, but not too familiar with Kamille. Like we say multiple times on this show, guys, we watch WWE, we watch AEW, and we will occasionally check out the indies and support our local indie show.
Yes, always.
But we have heard of Kamille. We know what she brings to the table, former NWA Women's Champion. I think this is a slam dunk introduction to her to the AEW audience. I'm going to assume that the majority of the AEW audience isn't too familiar, like myself, with Kamille's work. So why not pair her up with the biggest name in the women's division? Everybody knows who Mercedes Moné is, or Sasha Banks, whatever you want to call her, because I know some people are going to call her Sasha Banks. And regardless, it's just setting up for Kamille to eventually take that title off of Mercedes Moné.
That's exactly what I was about to say. If everything goes to plan, this is going to be an MJF Wardlow situation. And in the women's division, that's hard to come by. When Kamille could talk too. Like, she is a good promo as well. She's very good in the ring. She's got a solid promo. I won't say she's like a mind-blowing have to watch promo, but she could cut a good promo. And I think I think people will start to fall in love with her because she's got the look of a world champion. Obviously,
there's not many people that look like her. The only one I can think of is maybe Bianca Belair or Jade Cargill.
Yeah, Jade
right
Cargill.
Now.
Yeah, exactly.
And those are top tier athletes. So Kamille, I think she's gonna shine in AEW. This is exactly what that division needed because they don't really have that true imposing figure now that Jade has gone over to WWE. And you don't see Nyla Rose on TV anymore. Even though you did see her a couple weeks ago, she's not consistently on TV.
I was about to say, Nyla Rose is an imposing figure, and she's not awful in the ring. She's kind of that mid-tier, I might get some hate for this. She's kind of like the Tamina of the AEW. Like, Tamina was okay in the ring. She could hold her own, but she wasn't to the point of world championship quality in-ring action. Couldn't really cut a promo, so... And now we don't even take Nyla Rose as a threat. So,
and that's a former AEW Women's Champion right there.
That was their first, right? First?
No, Riho was their first.
Riho,
and then
right.
I believe Nyla took it from Riho, and then I want to say Britt Baker got involved there. Thunder Rosa. God, I'm trying to go down the line now. Jamie Hayter was one of them. I was trying to get them all. I was trying to
I don't know.
Timeless Tony, obviously, but yeah. Kamille being with Mercedes is going to be awesome to watch. Great Bound Hope says, Kamille is another woman who has been working her way up for years. She should have been brought to wrestle right away. She deserves the shine. Hard to disagree with you, sir. Cage My IQ says, I'm thinking Kamille being with Mercedes is a good sign. Hater will be coming back
Great
soon.
point.
How so? I'm trying to connect those dots here. Why would that be a sign?
You got to imagine that Britt Baker is going to make her way...
Oh, she's going to need help.
She's going to need the
backup.
help. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, I get what he's saying now. So that does make a lot of sense, yeah. And I did not know this. She was Nick Aldis' enforcer in the NWA.
Oh,
now,
I didn't know that.
Aldis, the GM of SmackDown. Crazy. So the Great Brown Hope hates Liv Morgan, but he wants you to put some respect on Tamina.
I wasn't even bashing Tamina.
Our bashing is a lot different than other people's bashing. We respect everybody. It's just... we don't like some people. Never gonna say the hate word. Actually, there is
I hate
a
Chris
few
Jericho
wrestlers I
right
hate.
now.
I think I hate. That was the one. I'm sorry, I'm not under the learning tree. I respect him. He's a goat.
Yes.
I don't need him on my TV.
Not anymore.
Riho, Rose, Sheeta. Oh, we missed Sheeta. That was the line.
Okay.
We were close. Not bad. Not bad for me having AEW as my number 2 favorite company, which is saying a lot. Hey, to be number 2 ain't bad, right, Ian?
Even though you watch about 3/4 of the wrestling you watch is WWE.
3/4 might be more. No, I watch Collision. You don't even watch.
I don't watch Collision. No, I'm not spending.
Who's the bigger AEW guy?
To be fair, I don't watch SmackDown either because I'm not giving up a Friday night.
Record it.
I'm up. I don't have TV.
That's fair. I also do hate Ryback. That's another one.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
Used to hate Baron Corbin. The complete opposite now. I think Corbin's great.
I give him a lot of respect. I don't love him. I respect the shit out of him, though.
I'm not going to think of more people I hate because that's not the vibe we're trying to get. I love more people than I hate. Let's just put that out there. Wrestlers, that is. I'm not talking about real life people.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say.
I was going to say, you know that answer. Takeshita's been killing in the G1, by the way. That's good.
Yep.
I have not seen anything from that. Like I said, don't catch much outside of the 2 major companies. But I am a big fan of Takeshita. Ian and I got the chance to meet him before, which, great guy.
Oh, yeah. Take. I do want to point something out really quick now that we're talking about the G1. My biggest thing with AEW right now that I'm going to say I'm pretty pissed off about is I don't know if you've seen the Scorpio Sky interview that he did with Chris Van Vliet. So a very good interview, by the way. I would highly recommend it. He's making his way back to AEW, hopefully very soon. He talked about why he had been gone for a while, and it was a lot about there were so many people coming in from other companies that were just taking the shine. And I get it. With Tony Khan, you want to bring in people that you love over from New Japan. You had your Forbidden Doors. But the fact that we have, you have a guy like Minoru Suzuki still in the ring. Again, all the respect in the world to him. We don't need to see him in AEW. He's not signed with the company. He's a New Japan guy. I respect the hell out of New Japan guys, but if you want to create your own brand in AEW, you have to give your own people the time to shine.
Yes.
You shouldn't have to reach into the barrel of New Japan.
Yep.
I mean, even Ring of Honor. Like, leave Ring of Honor on their own. Yeah, CMLL. Why are we doing this? That's the biggest thing that I baffles me in AEW. You're losing people. You're not even using Lance Archer. He's on your roster, and he hasn't been used at all. Miro. I think Miro and Keith Lee are two different stories. I think they're off. I think they're either injury prone. Don't quote me. It's not factual statements, but it just baffles me that people are having to leave the company because they have nothing to do. Like, they're not allowed on the TV because other companies are coming and taking the spotlight. That baffles me.
I mean, look at Ethan Page. No, I agree with you. Look at Ethan Page. I think he saw the writing on the wall once he saw all these people coming over. He's like, they're the shiny new toys, and they just pushed them aside like Andy did in Toy Story once he got to college.
Yeah,
that's what they did, and now he's going into NXT and he's flourishing. But do have one more comment here. Suzuki is a free agent. Yeah, we are aware, but still,
he's a New Japan
guy.
He's a New Japan guy.
Yeah,
it's annoying. I want AEW to be good.
That match itself, Suzuki and Jericho, what the fuck was that?
I don't know.
That was not wrestling. I'm sorry. It's my opinion. You can't disagree, or you can disagree, but you can't tell me I'm wrong. That's not wrestling. I'm sorry.
I didn't get to watch it. I think that's the one clip on YouTube I skipped because I knew it was going to happen. Yeah.
I'm giving you a recap.
And my rants, this rant that I had about AEW bringing in other people, it's not because I hate the company. Obviously, I love AEW. It's because I love AEW that I'm having these arguments. I want the company to be good on its own. It doesn't need other companies in it. Okay, now rant over.
Occasionally, I think you do need other companies.
I agree with that. I like when they do the Forbidden Doors.
Right. I think it's good part-time. It's beneficial for, other companies to work with AEW, especially if you're coming in to work enhancement matches in ROH or something like that. I think that would be a better use probably for people outside of your company. But there's such a deep roster, deeply talented roster in AEW. Yes. We want to see them succeed because if AEW isn't here, WWE's going to have a loaded roster and people just doing nothing and catering.
Yep, exactly.
So we just want the best for them. Jericho shouldn't be doing strong style. That's what made it unwatchable. Agreed. Jericho is not a strong style wrestler. He's just a professional wrestler.
Old style.
Old style, I guess you could say. Let's move on then to our main event segment.
I think there's been enough talk. It's time for the main event. Well, I think
it's time for the main event. Let's talk about Blood and Guts. Obviously, you had Team Elite on one side, and then you had the Acclaimed with Darby Allin, with Swerve Strickland, and I am missing another person, aren't I? Oh, Mark Briscoe. How could I forget about Mark Briscoe, who personally was my favorite in this match? Yeah. I love seeing Mark Briscoe get after it. A lot of callbacks to doing moves with his brother Jay. It was awesome to see him flourish in this, so let's just talk about the match quality itself first to start. We'll save the finish discussion for last. Did you enjoy the Blood and Guts match?
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. But again, we had this. I know what you're going to talk about here in a bit, and I know you have some complaints. So no, I'll save that talk for when you start throwing your complaints out there because I think I know where you're going to go with it.
You act like I have a laundry list of complaints. Yes. I only have one. I enjoyed the match.
Was it just the finish? It was just the finish.
Just the finish I did not like, correct.
Okay, so like I said, I told you before, I was like, I shut my brain off when it comes to these matches because I don't think the actual action in the ring, this is one of those specialty matches. Whatever happens in the ring, it happens. It's cool. It's fun. We're having fun during these matches. And I explained last week why I loved I loved the team AEW. I really agree why they chose the people that they did choose. And I thought the Acclaimed was another group that deserved to be in that match for Team AEW. Everybody got their shine during this match, which was the biggest thing. The Elite, they did their spotlights, they did their highlights, and I loved what they did with Hangman because he's not with the Elite. He's not an Elite guy, and I think we kind of figured that out from this match. Do you have anything to talk about? Because I'll kind of branch off my thoughts from yours.
So I agree with you. I loved what they were telling with these multiple stories because there are multiple stories within that match. And that's the beauty of these multi-man matches. You look at the War Games, you look at Survivor Series, it's the same kind of concept. And like Cage My IQ said, it did set up 3 to 4 separate matches for Wembley. And I do like the storytelling between Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland. I like the involvement of Jeff Jarrett coming down to help free Swerve and get him into that match. I thought that was a nice touch. I'm really enjoying what Jeff Jarrett is bringing to the television screen now.
Wild.
Which is crazy to say because everybody despises the man as a heel, but seeing him work as like a babyface authority figure, I think that could be good for him going forward.
Yeah, because he's still got the look and he could still go in the ring. It was always just the character aspect that everyone's like, why? Why are we doing this? But now it's starting to make sense. After the Owen Hart tournament, he gained all of his love back because he gave that story of why it matters to him. And that's hard to come by in AEW, why something matters to them. We don't see that a lot. It's always, I'm good at wrestling. You're not good at wrestling. So that love is really hard to come by in AEW. So why not take advantage of it? And probably, not probably, but his last run, most likely in wrestling in general. But I don't want to throw that out there because I think he's still got some mileage left.
Yeah, I agree. Eric's catching up. He's a little late. He said Dom didn't choose Rhea. He'll choose Liv at SummerSlam. Eric, go back and listen. We agree with you, pal. He did choose Rhea though this week. On paper, surface level, Dom is with Rhea right now. Yes. That's just where we stand currently. But going back to Blood and Guts, match itself was great. I'm not gonna say great. It was good. I enjoyed a lot of the spots. Bowens going into those tables from the outside. I thought that was fucking awesome. And
my favorite was Swerve going John Wick with the stapler gun. That was so innovative and so cool. That's why I'm wearing the shirt today, by the way. Swerve
I didn't even notice that was a
that man
shirt.
is still over. I love the shirt. But I do want to point out really quick. Swerve Strickland, we said it. I'm pretty sure you said it about 2 months ago. It might have actually been sooner than that. You were over Hangman and Swerve. Did this match change your mind?
I don't remember saying that.
I'm pretty sure I could go back and find it, but you're like, I don't know if
There's
I
no
really
chance
want
you go back and find it.
I won't do it, but I could do it.
That's why I said you will not do it, because you say you'll do something doesn't mean you're actually going to do it.
I'm not going to.
Maybe I did say that, but to answer your question, I'm in.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, good. I was hoping for that answer.
I am confused because Swerve has a match with Bryan Danielson at All In. So where does Hangman get involved there? There's no way you're going to involve him in that match because now they're going to be telling the story of Bryan Danielson's contract expiring and him being done as a full-time wrestler. So why would Hangman get involved there? Why wouldn't Hangman just go after Okada for the time being, just to get them both on the card? All
In is at the end of August, correct?
Yeah, I think it's the 21st.
I think there's some time, and I think you could use this as your main event up till then, because I don't know if you really need a build-up between Danielson and Swerve for this match, really, because I think on paper, no matter what, this match is going to be an absolute banger. We still don't know who's going to win that. I think I like leaving it like that, but that could just be me kind of thinking differently from a normal pro wrestling fan. Probably not in a good way, but I'm just really looking forward to that match. And the point, if you just threw it on TV, I'm gonna love it no matter what. So I think these leading up weeks with Dynamite, maybe with Collision, you could do Hangman versus Swerve. You could finish up something like that. That's what draws you back in next week. Then we finish it right before.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Eric says his favorite spot was Darby's coffin drop from the top of the cage. That was also very cool. And the Cage of My IQ says, and don't forget, Darby showed signs of hate with Swerve before the match. Yes, in that backstage segment he did. But let's talk about the ending. This is Blood and Guts. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. Okay.
I'm wrong.
We did get brutality. We got a good amount of it, I would say. This was a funny joke from Tuck in our group chat. He just said, I haven't seen Guts yet in a Blood and Guts match. Obviously, I don't want to see Guts, but that made me laugh, so shout out to our co-host. There was a disconnect for me on that finish, and it felt very anticlimactic. It felt kind of like we were back in the Thunderdome area where they were just letting people talk throughout the matches and tell a story that way. And the story made sense. Yeah. Darby wanted that TNT title match at All In. They got Jack Perry in a precarious situation, hung up, handcuffed to the cage. Same thing with Matt Jackson. He was handcuffed to the rope. But you have Darby walking back and forth multiple times. It seems like he couldn't find anything. It just slowed down everything at the very end to where we were just paying attention to the words they were saying inside of the ring. It's blood and guts. I want to see a brutal finish to this match. There shouldn't be just, oh, I agree to these terms, and we're going to have that match at All In. You win. I quit. If you're going to tease the fire spot, give me fire. I know that sounds terrible, but you should give us, that payoff, at least in my opinion. Once again, people, this is my opinion. I'm not saying it's gospel. You don't have to agree with me. Hell, I hope you disagree with me in the chat. But for me, I did not enjoy that whatsoever, Ian. If you're going to finish a blood and guts match, make it a good finish. Hell, give me even what you did with Chris Jericho going through all that padded equipment at the end of Blood and Guts. Yeah. I need something. I get it. It makes sense. You're telling that story for the TNT title with Jack Perry and Darby Allin. They are the EVPs. That's the only way you can get that match is by convincing them. But just, man, it killed all the momentum. And you could tell when that bell rang, the crowd was just like, yeah, okay, that was cool. Match was great. Not taking anything away from the match. But the finish fell flat for me.
Couple things. One is kind of in disagreement. I completely agree with that. It felt weird. It did feel really weird.
You understand where I'm coming from.
Yes,
and I understand
absolutely.
where you're coming from.
I'll first say what I agree with you, and I think why it happened in your brain like that, and probably in a lot of people. Obviously it was a wonky finish. No, it was a wonky finish. It something obviously went wrong. He couldn't find something. That happens. I get that. Another thing is too, the Anarchy in the Arena match, they went all out for that with the violence, and that's a problem of AEW of how can you one up the next match and so forth. Like that I feel like that was part of the reason as well, or a big part of the reason. And my other disagreement part, I didn't necessarily hate the ending. The result, I should say, I didn't hate the result because it made it. The camera showed Jack Perry giving Nick a look at the end where it's like, what did you just do? Why'd you just do that? I was ready to burn right here on the cross, basically. That was the reason I didn't hate it, and it wasn't like too mind-blowing and took my attention away. Obviously, it felt really slow. It felt very weak of an ending. But that's kind of where I sit. I didn't hate it, didn't love it, didn't like it, didn't dislike it. It was the ending. Which, again, not a great thing.
I just think they should have gone about it a different way. And I understand why they did what they did. They are setting up matches for the future. And a lot of the matches that they're going to be setting up here in the next couple of weeks are because of this Blood and Guts match. That's why I think we could see Hangman versus Okada. That's why I believe we are going to get the Acclaim versus the Young Bucks at All In. Trust me, I get that. Just me, I'm not entertained by that finish whatsoever.
Yeah,
and I know that's weird coming from a guy that says, I want stories, but it's blood and guts. That's like going to Hell in a Cell, and I can't even think of a dumb finish in Hell in a Cell. I put this blood and guts finish number 2 behind the death match finish with all the fountains. I
was literally about to ask that. I said, which is worse?
That was worse. That was way worse.
Yeah. Like I said, I didn't hate. I liked the results. Disliked the finish because it was so slow. You had built it up. It was kind of like listening to a song, and then you have a build up you build up for the bass drop, and then it just kind of never drops.
Or it's like Big Booty Mix where they just change the song right when you're getting into the good one. Hate it. I do get what Cage Mike Q's saying here. They were hoping that Bowen's spot probably sufficed the fans.
It just took so long after.
It did, and that was the problem with Darby walking back and forth. A lot of time was just being wasted. And he goes, I think we get the Acclaim, the Young Bucks, and FTR. Oh, I didn't even think about FTR. Yeah, that would make sense. What do you think about that?
Wouldn't hate it. Still am not. I like the FTR in the ring. Still lose me as characters. And I love them in the ring. I think they're one of the greatest tag teams in the world right now. But
I was going to say, do not say all time.
No. Oh, no, not all time.
They're not even, and this is no disrespect, they're not even top 10. Road Warriors, Dudleys, Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, Usos, New Day. I would even put the Young Bucks ahead of them.
Wow, that's a lot of praise for you.
You know my. Listen, I'm not going to end on a negative note. AEW Dynamite has been great these past couple months, and I agree with what you said earlier. It feels like there's sort of a resurgence. Now, listen, AEW ain't going to get back to where they were in 2021. Mm-hmm. They are never going to be definitive competition for for WWE, but that's fine. They are an alternative, and they offer something completely different than what the WWE does. So if you're just hating on AEW because it's not WWE, I'm just going to tell you to sit down, watch the show, go into it with an open mind, and then give me your opinion. And try to watch consistently. And
also for the people that do that, you're the problem with pro wrestling today.
Wow,
sorry.
You're just really calling them out now.
Oh, yeah. No, I cannot stand fan base. Yeah, tribalism. Yeah. Why? There's no point in it. Are you trying to get Twitter interactions? Ugh.
Look at what Drew did today. He took a picture with the AEW guys. They like each other. They're friends with other people and other companies. You fans are the reason AEW hates WWE and vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. Stupid.
It is stupid. It is fickle, as Bryan Danielson would say. But that takes us to the end of this week's episode, where we have to give out our MVM. And to the surprise of me and probably you, Ian, the reigning defending MVM was a complete no-show tonight. Shame. No kind in the chat whatsoever. What's going on with that?
I don't have an answer for you. I have no idea. We had a lot to talk about AEW too, and apparently he's a huge AEW guy now, so I don't know.
See, Gray Brown Hope gets it. He said AEW is a better show when they focus on AEW. Thought? Don't mention the other company. Do your own thing. Stay in your lane. You have so much talent. Will Ospreay, MJF, Bryan Danielson, Swerve Strickland. The list goes on and on and on. And that was just the top men. So many other talented females in that company. But let's get to the MVM. We definitely are going to have a new champion. We did have a few contenders, but this man came in pretty strong, especially when we started talking about AEW Dynamite. We have a new MVM of the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, Mr. Cage, My IQ.
Is that a first time for Mr. Cage My IQ?
No, he has won it before.
He has been there before. All right. I wonder what kind of champion he's going to be. Yeah, he kind of went, I guess, pun intended, all out with his comments. And they were good comments, too. We talked about every single one of them. So that's how you win the MVM, people.
Yeah, he gave us some talking points. That's what we need. Because, per usual, a little peek behind the curtain here. I texted Ian before the show. I do this very often, guys. I said, probably not going to be a long show tonight. If it ends short, oh well. Well, here we are. We're almost getting to an hour, and that's usually the amount of time we shoot for. So that's what happens when we have an interactive chat, right, Ian?
Yeah, and that's when OTM is the best, because just us talking, no one wants to hear that.
That's right. Actually, I think a lot of people do. Which, by the way, if you enjoy hearing OTM talk every single week and you are watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We are only 60 subscriptions away from 400. Yes, 60. So I'm going to take a page out of the Junkies book. If you know one friend, one person that likes professional wrestling, please recommend the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast to them. We are live usually every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central. Ian, why don't you tell them a little bit about all the great merch we have?
Yeah, all the great merch that we have. We have the OTM original shirt. Obviously, I always hang that up because it doesn't fit me anymore because I have gotten big boy. However, we have a bunch of other stuff. We have the honorary Mark shirt as well, our number one seller, as the people would say. And obviously my favorite shirt that we ever came up with. Thank you, Jordan Kamer. We have the Bryan Danielson appreciation shirt in a very plain shirt with a nice little plain lettering, as Bryan Danielson would approve.
Yep.
We have cups. We have tapestries. We have, I think that's it for the non-t-shirt stuff.
We have water bottles too.
Oh, we have water bottles.
Nobody's ever gotten a water bottle. That's one item that's never sold. So yeah, I'm going to remove it from the website now after saying that out loud.
So buy it now. You'll get the only one.
Buy it now, yeah. You'll be one of one. And also, if you are interested in getting yourself some new WWE merch, the Wyatt 6, yes, they have taken over OTM here to end the show. Scan that QR code the next time you want to get yourself a Wyatt 6 shirt, maybe a Main Event Jey Uso t-shirt. Ian, if you were to pick out a new t-shirt for SummerSlam and rock it in Cleveland, what shirt would you be rocking?
I honestly don't know, because I don't know. I'm not like you guys, I'm not up to date with the merch. Nope, not a CM Punk shirt.
Oh, I'm gonna be rocking Punk at SummerSlam.
Probably a Rhea Ripley.
Ooh,
I'd probably go down that route. I don't have any women's.
She would be a good one to have.
Yeah.
She's fantastic.
Yeah, I'd probably go with that. Or Liv Morgan, the Revenge Tour. I probably could
Watch
do that
her.
too. Yeah,
We were watching her on Monday. I tell you what. I'm just going to leave it at that. Don't forget to check out the Main Event Wrestling Network. We are a part of the Main Event Network. Like I said, plenty of content going down next week in Cleveland. Junkies, OTM, handshake emoji. It is going down. It's going to be a great time. Ian, you got any final remarks before we sign off? And by the way, Cage My IQ, I also will be wearing my DIY shirt next weekend because Johnny Gargano is from Cleveland.
That is true. Final remarks. Wrestling is fun right now. Enjoy it all. We don't need a lot of hate in wrestling because wrestling is fun and life sucks. So why not come to wrestling to have a good time?
I mean, you're not wrong, but that's kind of deep. No, I really don't know how to recover from that.
No, we're gonna go 15 minutes after for a therapy session with Ian.
No, we're not gonna do that. Make sure you're following us on all the socials so you can stay up to date on when episode 207 is going to be. It might not be live. Hopefully, it is going to be live because we do like interacting with you. But do know there will be a SummerSlam prediction show and hopefully a predictions contest because I believe Tony Cook is the OTM PLE champion. So if you want to challenge for that title, stay tuned on socials at Pod on the Mark. So thank you all for watching live, and thank you guys for listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.